Hi guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Roxanne with a special Roxanne news update. Now, you might have seen it already here in the UK. We Are Lady Parts has just launched over on Channel 4. It's a brand new 6-part comedy musical series focusing on the lives of an all-female Muslim punk band. The series features loads of great new original punk songs as well as a few surprising cover versions too. All episodes are available right now on All 4 in the UK and will be streaming on Peacock in the States from June 3rd. So I sat down with series creator Nida Manzoor and the full cast of the show to find out more about Season 1, becoming a punk band, and their hopes for the show in the future. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Anjana Vasan and I play Amina Hussain in We Are Lady Parts. I was involved in the short, which I think came out about 2 years ago. So it's been like a long journey. The character of Amina is, she's narrating the story for us about the band, and you sort of see it from her perspective. And I feel like the musical journey of the show kind of parallels her own personal journey and what she goes through in the show. When you first see her, she seems like the furthest thing from punk that you can imagine. And she's a country and music folk obsessive, and weirdly so am I in real life, and I think Nida is as well. So we kind of bonded over that. And she grew up in Singapore, so did I. So I feel like there was a lot of connections that made me feel like I have to do this show because I have to work with this person who is clearly a genius. And the show was about humor and joy, and I wanted to be a part of that kind of storytelling.
Cool. I'm Juliette Motamed. I play the role of Ayesha, the drummer of the band We Are Lady Parts. She is probably the prickliest one out of the lot of them. She is not too keen on an outsider joining their midst. But I think that all comes from quite a protective feeling of wanting to make sure that her and her people are safe and looked after and all of this stuff. In terms of the music side of it, I think that was part of your question as well. I actually make music, I sing and produce under Azadi.mp3, but I never played the drums or anything prior to this show. So it was a big difference going from 5-6 hours, going crazy on my computer, to actually just sitting in front of this whole drum kit and just letting it rip. So for me, it was a really cathartic experience. And I think it was nice that the character of Ayesha was also the drummer, because I felt like by playing the drums, I managed to get myself into that little aggressive headspace. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm Faith Omole and I played Bisma in We Are Lady Parts. I got cast 2 weeks before we started rehearsals. So I did the audition process over a week, 4 days really, and then there was a bass at my house, and then I was having bass lessons over Zoom. It was all a bit mad, and it was this summer, so in the midst of everything that was happening with the Black Lives Matter movement. And I remember reading the script and being like, here is a Black woman and a Black family, and there is just so much joy coming from this character, and she's happy, and she's love focused, and she wants to take care of people. And I was just like, oh, this is awesome, and this is I want the world to see people of color in this way. I want them to see them as just humans, funny, fabulous, big and bright humans. And so I just knew that I wanted to be part of it. And in terms of learning the bass, that was a lot, but it was so cool because I had the girls with me and they were so encouraging, and that was fun. And yeah, it's been the most amazing experience. It just feels mad that it's all coming out, because I'm like, isn't that just that weird thing that happened during the pandemic? But,
yeah.
Just rock summer camp you guys got to do together.
Yes,
and now we're seeing it.
Exactly.
It's coming out, man. It's coming out. Sarah, yeah, talk to me about your character as well.
Yeah, so I'm Sarah Kameela Impey, and I play Saira, who's the lead singer of Lady Parts. And I wasn't in the blap, but I did see the blap, and I remember seeing it and just thinking it was one of the most incredible things I'd ever seen, with all these incredible women playing parts that I've always dreamed of playing. So when the audition came around for Saira, I was just like, yeah, I was ecstatic. I did everything possible to get in that room. And then once I got it, obviously then the pandemic hit. So luckily I had the guitar, and I'd picked up guitar maybe in junior school, for a year maybe. So just sitting with this guitar for months was amazing. It just meant I got really into the songs. And I used to be in a band kind of for 6 years, but quite a while ago. singing like soul and indie music. And I hadn't done that for a while. So to change from like soul indie singing to punk singing was massive. So I think all during the pandemic, I got to study guitar. I got to work out like how I was going to get Saira out of this, which Nida helped with so much, because I really got to discover those bits of me that had never come to the surface before, and they got to just burst out and into this punk music. So it's insane. Singing punk is like so liberating. Everyone should have it.
Oh yeah, I fully agree. Everyone should have a go at being a punk singer. Definitely work out your shit from home that way. Absolutely.
Write it down, shout it out.
Especially this year. That's the way to vent right there. It's going good. Lucy, tell me about discovering your inner manager. Here we go.
Well, I'm Lucie Shorthouse. I play Momtaz, the band manager in We Are Lady Parts. And I think I admire her hustle. I think she doesn't always get it right, but she absolutely champions these girls and believes in them. And also, it was a privilege for me, just as an actor, to get to watch these girls grow and own their instruments. Again, it was quite foreign to some of them to like pick up these instruments. And by the end, I was like, you guys don't recognize how much of an actual band you are. So that was great. And again, building on what Faith said, actually. So I was in the Comedy Black 2018, I think. And then the pandemic hit. And then, you know, with the cultural conversation we were having regarding Black Lives Matter and the idea of amplifying marginalised voices, to be able to come back during a pandemic and record a show like this, which is bringing marginalised voices to the fore in a celebratory way, felt so important. And I think we can all agree that actually it was just the biggest privilege to think, I'm in a job and this is the job, this is the story we get to tell. Let's do it. So yeah, I feel like it was meant to happen, even with the pandemic and stuff. It was meant to happen at that time because it felt extra significant, I think.
Why the world of punk? Is this something that you've loved for a long time, or are you exploring new territory here?
That's a really interesting question. Why punk? It's definitely not the kind of music I was making. You know, I was much more like Amina's character. I was really into like my singer-songwriter stuff, obsessed with Paul Simon. But my older sister was much more into punk when we were growing up. She was the American kind of Newfound Glory, Blink-182 of it all. And I did actually really love like System of a Down, were one of my big intros into like just rock in general. But I think the genre of punk was more just because of like what I could say with it. You know, it's that kind of anarchic, anti-establishment, but also playful and silly as well. It just felt like the perfect kind of genre to allow my characters to kind of be loud and present and awesome.
And I'm glad you said there as well about looking like a real band. You really do, guys. You really do. And I guess that's a kind of key question here, because, you know, I imagine with any acting job, you're always going to get quite close in it, particularly when it's an ensemble show like this, and you want to be a big bonding session as a cast. Bonding as a band's a whole different level though, right? How was it actually finding that rhythm and finding your places when you're filming those performance scenes?
See, we actually had, like, I think a lot of people don't realize, we actually had like week in, week out, just band rehearsals. Wow. So we'd go in and we'd have like the actual instruments, and we'd be getting taught by Nida, the director and writer's brother, who is just this, he's called Shez, he's this amazing multi-instrumentalist, just can play jazz, any instrument. But we just go in and we were just kind of going in, week out, really learning these instruments, playing with the girls till like, at the end of it, I think we could play the songs without the backing track.
Yeah, we played it like it was a set list, you know.
Yeah, literally.
We rehearsed it on our own first, so you know, I never got to like. It was just the guitar and going through all the songs, and then we came together as a band, and that was really exciting. I was like, oh my god, like yeah, you're playing drums, and that is like, drums is like hard to fake, you know, because like if the camera is coming towards me, I can always just move away from the camera. Juliette can't go anywhere, and the drums are right in front of her, like she has to play it. But yeah, so we had, you know, we were playing as a band first for like weeks, you know, before we even started filming and before even some of the scripts were finalized. So yeah.
Wow. Were you starting off with some of the original numbers, or were the covers mixed in there at that point already? How did that kind of work?
It was kind of a mix of both. Yeah.
I think mine, I just learned it in the order because we were starting filming so soon. So I just learned it in the order of the times we'd be filming the songs. So I got stronger on like whatever song was first. I knew the best by the time we started, and yeah, and so on with all of them. But just to say about the music, because we played together, there was so much trust that I think really comes through in the scenes. And like we do, all of us five have the best relationship. And I think it is because we've gone to places musically with each other where we just tried and we've either soared or we've really messed up next to each other. And it's like, babe, did you drop your drumsticks? Did your guitar strap fall off? Guitar, your drumstick, let's go again. And you've always got Lucie as well, like when we think we're doing bad, she's like hyping us up, dancing, like yeah, so it just made for a better band, I think. Yeah,
the commitment as well. You have to sit, like there was a time when Juliette's stick definitely did fall out of her hand, and we turned around and she was just giving it one bongo.
Imagine I was basically doing one hand bongo, one hand.
Great. That's dedication right there.
The show must go on. The show must go on.
Absolutely. There's something quite punk about going one-handed on your drum kit as well.
I know,
There's something there.
It
works. It's so well cast, this show. Every performance is fantastic, and you need that with an ensemble show like this, and it just works so nicely. Tell me a little bit about that casting process. I know you had the Comedy Black before, but just I guess from a wider perspective, was it a difficult task tracking down these people, or was it?
Oh my gosh. It was so difficult, but it was like so much fun. I was like trying to find the right people. And we had extensive casting sessions with like group casting to see if the chemistry was right. And it needed to find people who could land the comedy as well as be like, actually one of the hardest things was also finding people who could be believably punk and not performatively, or like it felt like too much of an aesthetic. Like it had to kind of, there was a bit of that where even some of the actors who came in who could sing really well just couldn't go off key or like be a bit raw, which is why when we found Saira and Faith, I was like, oh my god, they're brilliant, they're perfect. And there was also kind of a music element to the audition where my brother had a little session with most of them to see how they could handle the instruments, because I just really wanted the actors to actually play. And so when we're watching as an audience, you're like, oh, they're a real band, they're really playing. Like that believability was so important to me. And they just put in the work and freaking nailed it, I think.
You guys mentioned, some of you got musical backgrounds and all in various different ways and stuff. But yeah, it sounds like punk, by and large, kind of a new world for the majority of you guys. Were you fans of it before, or were you kind of discovering this new musical world for the show?
I actually grew up playing bass in a punk band.
Yes, I love this. Right, tell me everything. I need names and set lists. Come on.
I was like 16. It was me and my friends. It was that kind of vibe. Like, I'm glad we didn't put any. I mean, the songs are. Let me just skate past. I don't want to upset anyone. But,
any covers in there? Were there any covers you were doing? We can get away with that.
Maybe a bit of Paramore.
Very nice.
Yeah, like it was that time.
Always a solid choice.
Yeah, no, I mean, I growing up, like punk has always been one of the genres of music that I've always really loved. And I think especially in the UK, we've got such a strong lineage and a strong history of punk music, and especially punk that kind of is championing like women and kind of having them at the forefront. Like we've got Susie Sue, who is a legend. We've got X-Ray Specs, Polystyrene. He's also got a sick documentary out by her, which I think is made by her daughter, which I recently got put onto. But for me, I think it's even so nice to just see, even if though it is fictionalized, like a continuation of that like UK punk lineage that has always been a thing.
I mean, I don't want to give too many spoilers away for people who haven't seen it. I guess by the time this goes out, everything will be streaming, but I will just say light spoilers ahead. But things like, like that first band performance and the first original track, the Bashir with a Good Beard, I mean, that is a fantastic moment. It's so great to see you guys all come together at that moment. Talk to me, I guess, about learning those original songs. They're all quite distinctive and incredibly funny, but also work as genuine punk songs, right?
Yeah, I mean, also like they were all written by Nida with Shez and her older sister.
Yeah.
Like they were like the Von Trapp family of punk. It was insane.
Right.
Like a family that got together, who were writing, like, someone's writing melody, someone's writing, Shez is putting the music together, Nida's coming up with the words. It was insane. So but also all the songs are hits. Yeah. I think like they're great songs. Like, I don't know, I think we all have like different favorites, but for me, the single for me is Fish and Chips. I think.
Chips.
As a band manager, I can confirm that would have been the lead singer.
Okay.
Good to know. Good to know.
I mean, if the songs were terrible, it would be really awful to learn, but they're so good that it was actually quite fun to play them again and again and again and never get bored of it.
I think what was so funny is that like in the process of learning them, we kind of got acclimatized to how absurd they were. So imagine I'd be sitting there being like, okay, and it's like fish and chips, okay. And it's like literally after like a couple weeks, you're turning around being like, okay, and then you go Bashir, and then you go, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, you're so pretty. We're just saying the most ridiculous things to each other. We've just somehow become totally acclimatized to this world of absurdity. It's amazing.
Yeah, when people write out the lyrics, like people have been like, what's this song? Because they've been writing about our first song, Honor Kill. And they've been saying like, Faith, what's this song? And I'm like, oh yeah, oh, don't worry. It's cool. Don't worry about it. It's really good.
Yeah, I think the Voldemort track's going to be a breakout hit. Don't worry about that. I think
that's an anthem. The anthems, you know, the anthem.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
All the lyrics as well. There's just something about the lyrics they've written. They're so smart and they're so funny. And like I'd be playing, like I'm just learning them at home, and then we'd get on the mics, and like I feel like Sarah, our voices would do the craziest things because it's like the lyrics just make you want to go there. Like you just end up experimenting so much because it's like the lyrics are already out the window. You might as well follow. Like you might as well go with
the original songs. Was it a place of we want to talk about this particular subject, or we've got this is a funny idea for a set of lyrics there, or did it kind of come in a different way? How was the approach to actually getting those original songs together?
It was a bit of both. With some of them, it was like, oh, is this story beat? And it'd be nice, a bit of like TV magic where like, ooh, an idea and cut to them playing, which I don't, I was like, that's fine. Whereas others, it was like me and my sister would like have a silly idea and it's like, oh, that's funny. So it was definitely, without going to spoiler territory, a kind of mix of, oh, I kind of want to express this sort of angsty identity issue I have over here through the song. Other times it's sort of just one funny hook, like with Bashir with the good beard, for example. Like that one was kind of inspired by Beyonce's lyric, Becky with the good hair. And I was like, oh, Bashir with the good beard. And then the kind of idea for the song sort of took shape around that little kind of thing. There were bands that I was looking to that are really cool. There's an American Muslim punk band called the Kameelas, who I spoke to the lead singer Basim at length to just talk about band dynamics, because I love that. I think they have this like a real playfulness as well, which I loved. I also I really love like films about bands. So like Almost Famous is I love watching bands squabble. Like I don't know what is about that. So like I was like, oh, I think that was one of the things I was also trying to representation, yeah, on the one hand, but also band dynamics I live for. And like, Spinal Tap was like a huge influence. So I was like, I just want us to be silly as well.
I was gonna say, I think with Amina it's a bit different because she's not obviously very punk and cool when we first see her. I mean, she's cool in a different kind of way, I think, in an unintentional way. But for me, like, I think I was looking a lot, I mean, her folk heroes all wear like the guitar really high, like Joan Baez, and I think that I wanted her to always have her guitar super high up and nerdy. So even when she's playing electric, it's like there. So, and I was like looking more at like, Brian May to Freddie Mercury, as opposed to like, because she's not the obvious front woman, she's sort of in the background trying to hide and get, she's scared to play. So it was more about trying to make her look not great at playing, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm gonna have to ask Nida after this as well when I chat to her, because I don't know if it was a reference or not, but when we first see Amina and she plays, because it's Romance you play in that scene, right? And that is, I don't know if it's an intentional reference or not, but that's the first track on the first My Chemical Romance album as well. They cover it in the opening track.
Guys,
well, that's
remember in rehearsal.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
I was like, Amina, I was like, and you're playing a My Chemical Romance song. You're playing a My Chemical Romance song. I literally in rehearsal. I'm glad it got brought up.
That's the first song on the first album by My Chemical Romance as well. So there's just this beautiful punk connection to it that I just wanted to know. Was that intentional, or is that just a happy coincidence?
It wasn't intentional, but damn it, I want to say it was. No, it wasn't. Oh my gosh, my sister will be obsessed. She's obsessed with My Chemical Romance as well. So like she will love that. She hasn't like seen the full show. So, but actually that song was one of the first songs my dad taught me how to play on guitar. Yeah, so I just like, I love like throwing in little bits of stuff that I could draw from my own kind of experience.
No, it's a lovely, lovely moment. And then, yeah, like I say, again, I kind of don't want to give too much away, but when those covers pop up, it just puts a big smile on your face because they're so unexpected and you don't recognize them from the opening bass slaps or whatever it is. And then when they kick in, just amazing. I mean, talk to me about putting those choices together.
I mean, I really want to talk about it, but like, I think those were in there from like quite early on the script stage. Like the final song, I just really wanted to be the kind of end set piece. It's there's something in the lyrics of that song that speak to the moment, even though it's like a song that you might sing at the end of someone's wedding and everyone's sort of wasted. But it also, like, the lyrics are so heartfelt and beautiful, and I actually really connected to that character Saira's journey. And also that the kind of the other cover and the pub, that one, I don't know, I kind of wanted to create that Blues Brothers feel when they're in the kind of seedy country bar and there's the hostile moment. Obviously the song isn't the right song, but that kind of, I love that one. That's one of my favorite scenes. Originally in the script, like the punters were gonna, like, it'd be a kind of heightened moment where it'd like go into like throwing glass at them, like kind of like what they did in Blues Brothers, but then I was like, we don't have enough time to shoot that, and it'll just take away from the fact that it's the most awesome cover. Like one of my heroes saying yes to that, like had to, like my siblings had to do like a rough version of the song and she had to sign off on it herself. So her signing off on it was like basically one of my career highlights so far.
I mean, we were really lucky, weren't we? Because they got signed off pretty quickly, the ones that we were allowed to do. So we knew we were doing them for a long time, but still wrapping your head around how they were going to be different and how, you know, because they're iconic, they're giant songs. And you're like, how are we going to do this justice? But because it's so different, that's what the people who signed off of them, that's what they really love about it. It's never going to be anything like people have heard it before.
I always can't believe that insert name here signed off on it.
Yeah, totally. I was convinced it was not going to happen.
Yeah.
I heard they were notorious, you know, for being very selective about who got to play their songs.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that.
The cover we're talking about that me and some of the team just bawled our eyes at, which it's not an appropriate song to cry to, but I was just the fever in the air, and I was just filled with pride. They're not even my actual real band, but they felt like my band, and it was just, it was really special actually to watch those, especially the covers, I think, because they're so different, and there's obviously a pressure and a duty of care attached to doing a cover of an iconic song, but it was just so incredible hearing it for the first time. And the girls like finished and were like, "Was that okay?" And I was like, "What? It was insane! It was so good." You know, it was just so special. I'll always remember that. Yeah.
You mentioned System of a Down growing up there. There's a lovely little bonding moment we can mention, singing along to Toxicity of the car and everything. And it just struck me as well, that is just such a, growing up, that's what I do with my friends. It's funny, isn't it, how like punk and that kind of heavier music, it can be a real bonding formative thing, which I guess is a theme throughout the show as well, right?
Totally. I mean, I wanted to pepper in those songs like Toxicity that would make my like 14-year-old self like scream. There's quite a few songs in there that I feel like I've got to, like, my teenage self has got to have like a little party inside. Yeah.
My only complaint about the show, I have to pull you up on it. I'm not having any Blink 182 slander, all right, guys? I mean, come on now. Just have to say it for my boys in Blink. I just had to say that out there. None of that slander.
I appreciate you standing up for me there, because that, I was upset.
It's the only bit I didn't enjoy this show, man. I'm sorry.
You didn't enjoy it. I mean, it was a loving bit of slander. And at the end, I feel like we obviously bring it full circle with the end credit song choice.
That is true.
That actually, we love you, see?
If there is a season 2, personally, I really hope there is. But if there is a season 2 and that happens in the future, where would you kind of like to see this go next? Is there anything you particularly would like to see from the characters if it gets to happen?
I don't want to give anyway spoilers, but I feel like I mean, we don't know, first of all, if we have a season 2. I hope so, but you know, remains to be seen. But I kind of want to see like a rival band, like, you know, I want to see some competition. Maybe that would be fun.
I want to see the band sell out.
I'm running for a world tour.
Yeah, festival gigs would be nice. I'd like to see some festival stuff.
Let's go.
That'd be very, very cool. I mean, is it something that ever got discussed? Because obviously you've had to play them in the room. Have you ever thought about doing some kind of live thing around this together?
That's what's about it.
Sarah's going to be jumping
all the time.
Sarah,
Already on the phone conversations with various venues, like just deciding, like this is her dream.
this is you. You asked the question as Sarah's been dying to get asked.
I see a big, bright future for us. Let me just if anyone wants to step in, call any venues. I just want to go to all the festivals, and weirdly, not just as lady parts. Just I want to go to all the festivals.
It's been a tough year.
And don't we all after this year? My God, any festival, I'll take it.
If you want us to play, I'll talk to the girls.
Have you got any ideas about what you'd like to see next? I mean, I suggested that to the cast. They were saying they want a rival band, and they definitely want to see some kind of festival performance as well. Is there any ideas that have crossed your mind as well?
Oh my God, I love those ideas. I haven't yet. I've been kind of doing the thing where I'm gonna let it come organically to me and be like, spark, inspiration strike me. So I'm sort of keeping my mind open, but they've been pitching me also like, can we go abroad? Oh, what about like Hawaii, the band? I've been getting a bit of that, but yeah, I'm still kind of ruminating on stuff.
But yeah, congratulations, and hope to chat to you again soon for season 2. That's my hope. It really, really is.
Thank you so much.
Nice one, guys. All right, really nice to speak to you guys. Catch you soon. We Are Lady Parts airs Thursday nights at 10 here in the UK on Channel 4, with all episodes also available on All 4 Plus. You can catch them in the US on Peacock from June 3rd. In the meantime, I've been James Wilson Taylor, and this has been a Roxanne News Update.